And joining us now on our book talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a very interesting book and kind of apropos what's going on in the world. It's called The Future of Feeling, Building Empathy in a Tech-Obsessed World. We're joined today by Kaitlin Phillips, and she joined us by telephone. And Kaitlin, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
I didn't want to take a chance of mispronouncing your middle name. Is it Ugolik?
It's Ugolik.
Ugolik, okay. I know that's your middle name on there. That's an unusual name, very nice name, but I didn't want to mispronounce it, so I wanted to ask you first. So good to have you.
That's my maiden name.
So. Oh, okay. Very good.
It was a former last name. Phillips is easier to say.
That's it. Well, good to have a chance to talk. You're based out in up in North Carolina, right?
Yes, in Raleigh.
Raleigh, yeah, great part of the country, and you're a journalist, and you wrote this book, which I think everybody deals with every day. I just was on Facebook just a few minutes before we started talking today, and you're right. Your book kind of touches on the whole topic of the social media and Facebook and all those things, and how people are kind of losing touch with actual human contact, right, or actually feelings, right? That's the genesis of the book, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of my experience is, growing up on social media and seeing how it changed and grew over time, and as more people started to use it and started to use it to talk about more, important and kind of deep, big things, that I started to notice that, it's not always a great conduit for empathy.
I always wonder now, I'm a little older than you. You grew up with the social media. I came into it a little bit later in life, so I wonder how it is for someone in your age group. You really hadn't had any other experience, right? You've always had it, right? Growing up as a teenager and young adult, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm 32, so when I was about in middle school was when a lot of this really started happening, and I would, come home from school and talk to people on AOL Instant Messenger, which doesn't exist anymore, and then I had MySpace and did online journaling, and then Facebook came along when I was in high school. So it's kind of always just been a normal part of life for me.
I always wonder, and you see kids now, they all are on the phones and basically kind of communicating with each other, even if they're sitting next to each other by texting, on the phones to each other. And when I was in elementary school, you made your plans that day, what you're going to do after school. Either we played hockey or football, whatever. I wonder if kids still do that, or like, again, the part of your book where you talk about it, are kids just so entwined in the technology they don't even do that, right?
I think they do. I think it depends on the kids, right, and the community that they grow up in. And I spoke with one person who works in the education technology world, and he told me about how when his kid comes home from school, he goes right into the online video game Minecraft,
right.
But he meets all of his friends there, and then they play hide and seek in the game before they do anything else. So he pointed out that they're kind of playing the same games that he would have played, but in a different environment. And what he was concerned about was what's lost when, for example, if you hurt someone's feelings or beat them really badly in a game in person, they're going to respond, and you're going to feel that response immediately. If you're playing Monopoly and someone loses and they toss the game off the table, you notice that. But you don't really get that feedback as much in an online game or an online conversation even. And so I think losing that piece is part of what makes empathy more difficult to access. And as a kid, that's a little bit concerning because they need to be spending time, growing that empathy muscle.
Yeah, that's the key, obviously, in the title of the book, empathy. You learn that from, playing games as a kid. You learn how to deal with disappointment if you lose a game, or how to get over it quickly. But like you said, I'm not sure kids or even adults are learning that or relearning that as adults just by constantly being online, and you put out your opinion, or maybe somebody puts out an opinion you don't like without thinking the other person's feeling. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So that's a difficult thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a lot easier. I think what it is that it's easier to avoid those hard in-person conversations and moments, because you can kind of escape to online, where if you really are having a difficult problem with someone or something, you can mute it or unfollow it.
Yeah, it's almost like push a button and it goes away, where in real life that doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
Well, talk a little about how you put this book together. I mean, you talk to different people, and you kind of break it down into different parts of life. You talk about in health, or your what's going on in the world as far as news goes, or just talking to each other. So talk a little about how you put it together.
Yeah. So did a bunch of research, just kind of looked into the academic literature to see how much, if any, research had been done on that empathy and technology connection. And a little bit has been done, but we're really kind of at the beginning of it. You know, a lot's being done right now. So we don't know a lot of hard data about those things, but the experience is kind of undeniable. So I wanted to write about it, and I reached out to all kinds of people in different industries. I talked to some conversational experts, some education experts, people who are creating virtual reality experiences, and I got to experience some myself. I went to an event where I got to experience a few virtual reality things where, you know, you put on the headset and then a backpack and hold on to these controllers and kind of really embody, you know, a different person for a short amount of time. And that was a really impactful experience. And I did a lot of interviews, you know, by phone and in person, and it was a really interesting process. You know, I learned a lot and, you know, was a little surprised by some of the things that I learned along the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I never tried that virtual reality. I know you had a chapter in the book about that, and obviously that technology is great. I know it's being used in, you know, medicine or even, you know, psychological, helping people get over things. I mean, it has some, you know, medical uses as well, in addition to be entertaining. But, yeah, what are some of the things that did surprise you from, you know, when you started this project? Obviously you had an idea in mind, but something changed along the way, or you had some different things you didn't expect, huh?
Yeah. So one of the things was with the virtual reality experience I did, it's called 1,000 Cut Journey, and you kind of embody the life of a young black man, and you go through his experience over you know, as he's growing up.
Right.
And one thing that really stuck with me after that was not that now I understand what this experience is like, but this very strong sense that, you know, I really don't. And so that's where that empathy, I felt like it helped me exercise my empathy muscle in terms of acknowledging how different my experience is from someone else's. And I think that helped me grow in empathy, as opposed to feeling like, oh, now I get what that's like, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
another thing that was surprising in a really positive way was just learning how much young people seem to understand this, especially teenagers right now. Even though they are, you know, kind of, they are spending a ton of time on their phones, they're, you know, on Instagram and all these other apps, but they seem to understand that it's not really sustainable the way things are going right now, and that something needs to change. And those are the folks who are going to be creating, you know, the next technologies that we have. So that's encouraging to me that they are thinking about empathy, and they do see that that we need to do things a little differently in the future.
I was going to ask you that. Are you optimistic, obviously, that you just said there, if younger people are realizing that, you know, there's more to just, you know, playing on your phone. You got to deal with people on a one-to-one basis. So that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about that. I mean, it is I have concerns about, you know, the major tech companies and all the ways that they are developing things that we don't even really understand, and
right.
They're not super transparent about. So I think that there are definitely pros and cons, but I hope with the book people will just start to ask more questions about this and start to think more intentionally about how technology affects them.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about, and the book gives you a lot of great insight. Again, it's called The Future of Feeling, Building Empathy in a Tech-Obsessed World. We've been talking with Kaitlin Phillips today. And Kaitlin, give out your website if you would, or how people can get more information about the book.
Yeah, you can go to thefutureoffeeling.com.
Easy enough. We'll also put a link on our website as well. But Kaitlin, pleasure talking to you. Hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please visit our website at dougmilesmedia.com for more great content. We'll see you again real soon.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.